Welcome back, everyone. As you know, Boise is one of the fastest growing cities right now. Well, the Boise Bubble podcast is using that growth to their advantage to talk about issues and topics that impact the Treasure Valley community. Do you want to know who's behind that podcast? Here they are. Joining us today from the Boise Bubble podcast, right here, hosts and founders are Natalie and Shane Plummer. How are you today?
Doing great, Carolyn. How are you?
Welcome to KTVB.
Thank you so much.
I love that the growth has an upside on it when I hear that it created a podcast for you. But tell me a little bit about your background and how you got to this podcast stage.
Okay.
Go ahead. Start us out.
Well, I run an Instagram page called Hello Meridian. I've been doing that for 7 years, and it's very focused on what's happening and local businesses, and it's kind of through the perspective of me and through my family. And while that has been really fun, sometimes social media doesn't allow for great conversation. You know, it's pretty short form. And so as things were happening in Idaho and we were seeing a need for better communication, more conversation, I presented this idea to Shane, who is just a great conversationalist in general.
I heard you're kind of the talent of it
Yeah.
over there. What are you getting out of this? I mean, as far as like, I shouldn't say what are you getting, because you're giving back to the community, trying to tell us everything about it. What kind of reaction are you getting from your podcast?
Generally incredibly positive. There's a lot of the topics that we touch on that people really like, and it's been some of the surprising ones. One of the best reactions that we got was the episode where we talked about having separate bedrooms. I couldn't believe how many people found that comical. But we were at the state fair, and a listener walked up to us in line and started talking to us like we just left off the conversation. So it was kind of interesting.
Do you think it's because they had something in common with you? Maybe wishing they either had separate bedrooms or...
Well, it sounded like they did move into separate bedrooms after that podcast, because we talk local, but we're also married. We've been married 22 years, and we kind of dabbled in let's talk about marriage, and those podcasts did really well. So we're like, well, that's fun. So I think there's just conversations people are wanting to have, and maybe they just did an invitation to have them.
Well, I love it. So it's more of maybe conversations with what people are thinking and doing right now, and then a little bit in there or a lot in there about local events as well?
Pretty decent amount on local events. I feel like we've got a pretty good balance and mix. There's no end. We could have episodes forever just because there's so many things to talk about here, whether it's people, organizations, events, and then throw in a little bit of marriage talk every now and again. There's a lot to talk about.
Well, I just giggle when you say that, because I'm like, okay, how many hours a day are you guys together? I mean, here, a married couple, podcasts, and I know through your businesses, you work together?
Yeah, and we have 3 kids, so...
3 kids?
Yeah, so that's fun. I mean, you know, honestly, we don't talk about the podcast a lot. I mean, we have one dedicated day of podcasting and talking about that, and then we go back to our life. But we're like, well, what are we talking about? What's fun? And let's invite people to either chat with us or let's just do it, the two of us.
I love it.
It's super fun. It's not always easy. Yeah. You know, it's a new element of marriage.
But you do tackle some tough topics. Mental health, I heard, was a very popular one as well that you just had on.
That was a really interesting one to talk about. We loved it. Just taking some of the stigma out of a topic that a lot of us don't really feel comfortable touching on, just to let people know where they can find some resources. It was a really meaningful episode for us.
Yeah, that just released, and I think even like I don't get really emotional on the podcast. That one, it was hard not to, but just sometimes just having those conversations and letting people know, hey, this is okay to talk about, and then when you realize that so many people are interested in the same things, you feel less alone. And we've come to that realization on many topics, that some things that maybe we're dealing with, we're really not alone in it.
Well, and that's always great to have others that you can talk to about it, or you can at least talk about it to them like you are in your podcast, and they can carry on that conversation that they need to. Okay, I'm going to tell you where you listen to this couple right here. And by the way, what handsome and beautiful couple, may I say, Boise Bubble podcast, and it's Natalie and Shane Plummer, and we've got the information right there on community outreach that you do with the Boise Bubble podcast. So real quick, where can people listen to you?
We're on Apple, Spotify, Overcast, all of them.
Yeah, and on social media, the Boise Bubble and Hello Meridian, and Shane runs the Instagram page, Idaho.
Oh, and they still have time with their 3 kids. Love it. Hey, it's nice to meet you.
You too.
Thank
you so much.
Share your story and your podcast now.